If that is not the best thing that I have tasted in days, I don't know what is.
Think about me.
I am so hungry and I am so excited to show you this. So, one of my favorite things to make for a sandwich, for a quick and easy lunch, is a Reuben sandwich. You probably haven't had Reuben in a long time. You've been vegan for a long time, but this is going to bring you back to the flavors and to just that delicious, crunchy, gooey, salty, rich sandwich that you maybe grew up loving, or maybe you got into it later in your adult years. I don't know. Now, what we're going to do for this sandwich is we're going to use tempeh. So, we've got to cook it to get started. So I've got one of those always pans actually. They're really quite cool. So I've got one of those on the heat already. I've got some little bit of water in the bottom. We're gonna steam these for about 5 to 7 minutes to get it started, and then we're gonna really just start building it right after that. We're gonna get the sauce ready, and this comes together quite quickly, but definitely worth it. Definitely something you're gonna love. So let's get started with this. And we'll get this onto our heat and get it kind of cooking right off the bat. So, tempeh does need to be cooked, and I don't know, you know, I don't know about you, but it's not tempeh is not my favorite. Of the kind of protein sources that we have as vegans. We don't eat it super frequently, but we do like it, under certain circumstances anyways. So, what I'm gonna try and do, I used to kinda cut this, like, horizontally like this, and you want them maybe about maybe like a 1/4 inch thick or whatnot, but I'm actually gonna go and try and cut these in half like this. So I'm gonna be really gentle and really careful because obviously I don't wanna lose a finger here. But that's gonna give us kind of more of a nice kinda patty for our sandwich and, just make it kind of a little bit easier to put together when the time comes. So, we'll go ahead and we'll get this cut, and we'll get this into our steamer basket right away. And there's your always pan. So it doesn't even have to get that hot, which is really nice. And it comes with this handy dandy little basket that you just kind of pop right in there. So we'll go ahead and put these in there for about 7 minutes, and we'll let those steam up, and we'll get everything else kind of ready to rock while we wait for that. So the other thing worth mentioning is we do have a sandwich press kind of getting hot, so we can get this onto the sandwich press as soon as possible. We can, start eating it right away. I'm hungry. I don't know about you. You're watching this, you're probably hungry too. So we've got that on the heat anyways. And what we're gonna do now is we'll get our sauce ready. We'll maybe get our sauerkraut ready, and then that way, when the tofu or the tempeh rather is ready to rock, we'll go ahead and we'll just get it put together as quick as possible so we can all eat. So let's get a bowl ready. We're gonna start with a little bit of vegan mayonnaise, okay? So, yeah, you don't have to be perfect on your measurements here, but generally speaking, we want about 2 to 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I'm probably gonna go with about 3 here. So, that's probably about 1.5, and that's probably about another 1.5 there. So that's perfect. Next, we want to get about 2 tablespoons of ketchup. So I'm just gonna use the same spoon here and kind of eyeball this into about 2 tablespoons. So the ketchup's gonna give it that little bit of sweet, but not only, in the ketchup, we're gonna add roughly about a teaspoon of, you can use brown rice syrup, this is actually golden corn syrup, which don't hate me for using corn syrup. I know that's, kind of the bad thing to use because of where it comes from, but we're gonna use about a teaspoon of that, okay? We're gonna start adding a little bit of spice to this as well, and it's gonna be pretty simple. We are going to use, where is my pepper? I know I brought it out. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna do about a quarter teaspoon of salt. Don't need a ton. You can always adjust it later, obviously, if you want to, right? And where's my pepper? I think I meant to get out my pre-cracked pepper, and I decided against it to go for fresh cracked pepper. So we'll get that in there. You want about a quarter teaspoon of that as well. And the only other thing we're going to add is some fresh chives to this. So we'll get that out of the way for a moment. I already pre-washed these and got these ready. You can put as much into this as you want. Obviously, chives are really quite subtle in their flavor. So you just kind of get a nice consistency here with them. I have a brother-in-law who was a chef for a long time, and his recommendation with cutting chives was just to take your time if you want to try and get that really nice consistency. I'm not so worried about it because it's going into a sandwich and it's going to be covered in lots of really great stuff. But isn't there always one like that that just like doesn't cut for whatever reason? So we'll throw those on the side, but we'll get these in there, and that's going to give a nice little color and a nice taste to our sandwich. So there you go. That's what it looks like. We'll go ahead and kind of stir this together, bring it together. And that came together super easy, super fast. So there's not much to this. And we'll just set that aside. And maybe what we'll do now is now that we got that ready, let's just get our sauerkraut ready. We'll get that drained. So you can buy tons of different sauerkraut at the store. This one is a Bavarian sauerkraut. It's a mild one. My recommendation to you when you buy sauerkraut is to not buy the cheapest one you see, because it's going to taste like a cheap sauerkraut. It's not going to have the flavor that you're looking for. So we'll go ahead and, you can put as much on your sandwich, obviously, as you want. We'll get this start drained a little bit. So it has an opportunity not to make our sandwich like super soggy. So let's go ahead and get this drained. All right, so that's draining away in the sink, and then that way we won't have a soggy sandwich. Beautiful. We are right on track here. So we're going to flavor the tempeh as soon as it's done steaming, and we're going to get that ready right now so we can just add it to the pan, get that cooking so we can eat right away. So what are we going to put in here? Let's start with 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So you can use fresh lemon juice if you want. I didn't actually have any fresh lemons, so I'm just going to use the store-bought stuff. Obviously, it's pretty convenient and easy, right? If you still got your syrup out, or do about a tablespoon of this as well. This is actually going to help it kind of caramelize too. So we'll do a tablespoon of that. You could probably use maple syrup too if you didn't have this type of syrup in the house. We're going to get about a tablespoon of mustard. So I've got a little bit of Dijon mustard here. I'm just going to try and get rid of this. That's perfect right there. That's about a tablespoon. That's good. You could use stone ground mustard, whatever you like. Even regular prepared mustard will kind of give it that taste. Now I'm going to add something a little fancy here. You don't have to do this, but this is beet powder. So you could actually use fresh beet in this as well. We've had this for a while, so it is a little bit hard, but that's what beet powder looks like. And really what we actually can use this for is just giving it a little bit of color. Beet powder does add a bit of sweetness to the dish as well. But the nice thing about adding the beet powder is it's going to give it kind of that red, Reuben-y look for the tempeh, which will be nice. And there's just a few more things we'll throw in here. So these are caraway seeds. We want about a half teaspoon of those. We'll add some more salt and pepper to this as well. So maybe about a quarter teaspoon salt. I kind of went overboard on that. We'll put our pepper in here. We know where it is now. We'll do about a quarter teaspoon of fresh pepper, which will make that taste really nice. And we give it a little bit of a stir to try and break down that clumped up beetroot powder, right? And you don't have to, but I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper flake as well. If the kids are going to eat this, maybe you don't put that in, but it's kind of nice to have a little bit of that spice in there. So we'll add that. You give it a good stir. Make sure it's ready for when our pan is ready, and we'll get all of those clumps of red pepper or beetroot powder kind of broken down. All right, that is looking good. Let's go check on our tempeh. We'll get it out of the steamer. We'll get it onto the pan, a little bit of oil in there. We'll start cooking it in this, bring it up to heat, get it ready, and then we're going to make our sandwich. All right, let's take a peek here. Woo! There we go. Did that fog up the camera? Maybe a little. All right, so I'm going to turn off the heat for a moment. And this is probably going to be really hot. Let's see. No, not too bad. Okay, so let's get the water out of here. And we'll just get this right back on the heat. Like that. So we'll give the water just a moment to burn off. And that's going to happen really quite quickly. We'll get this ready over here so it's ready for when we need it. Okay, and our water's basically burnt off, so let's get a little bit of oil on there. We don't want the pan too hot. And we'll go ahead and get our liquid in there. And we'll just kind of simmer our tempeh in this beautiful liquid that we've created, which is going to give it a really, really nice flavor. And I'll kind of crust it up a little bit as well. And that is going to be absolutely perfect. So we'll let that cook for a few minutes and we'll get our bread ready here. So we're getting close. This is awesome. Now, like any good Reuben, you need really good rye bread. So this is nice, freshly baked today, dark rye from our local grocery store here. I gotta tell you, this sandwich was inspired by a place in Victoria, BC, called Rebar, and they've got a Reuben sandwich. So if you ever have an opportunity to go check out Rebar, do it because it is phenomenal. Now, you could use butter. I'm thinking about it now, my mouth's watering. You could use butter on these. We could also just do a quick spray of oil if you want. I'm probably just gonna do a little quick spray of oil, but either's really fine because we do wanna get that, the outside of the bread kinda crusted up. And not only are we gonna get that crusted up, but we've got a little bit of, a vegan style provolone here. You could use something that's maybe like a mozzarella style as well. I don't know that I'd use cheddar. I think that would be a little too flavorful, a little too, sharp tasting maybe for the sandwich. But, let's make sure we're generous with it too, right? We're not counting calories here today. We want this to taste amazing. So that is ready. And, maybe what we'll do is before we get this on the heat, we'll check on our tempeh real quick, and then we'll get it cooking. So those are primed to be flipped. And with these always pans, you wanna be careful not to scrape them. You can see we're losing a little bit of that liquid as well. So maybe what we'll do is we'll kind of give these a little bit of a shuffle here. Make sure we're getting them all nicely coated. This one is the one I'm kind of more worried about than any of them. So, whoops. There. Okay, that's okay. Looking good. So we'll maybe turn down the heat and let that cook for one more sec. Oh, we're close. Okay, let's start putting this together. So we've got our delicious Reuben sauce, kind of like a Thousand Islands style sauce. We're gonna put that on both sides of the bread, actually. So why don't we just kind of relocate the cheese down there? And this is just gonna help add a ton. Now, the way that I like to build this, you certainly don't have to do it this way, but I like to get the sauerkraut right on top. The reason, or in the cheese rather, the reason I do is because it helps piece it together, right? So here is our drained sauerkraut. You know what? I'm even gonna give that a little bit more of a squeeze in the sink because I don't want it running all over. Maybe I should have squeezed it before I started draining it. Who who would have thought? Let's spread this nicely on here like that. Nice generous helping. It smells good. I don't know if you guys like sauerkraut, but I do. Okay, and let's get our tempeh off the pan. And there's two. Okay, so she's built. She's ready. We'll get the top on like this. Okay, we'll give this a little bit of a spray. We'll give it a quick flip. Give this a little bit of a spray. And let's get it onto our pan or our sandwich press. That's looks good. Let's close that down. So while that's cooking away, I'm going to clean up a little bit and I'll see you guys back here in about 5 minutes. Once that's nice and toasted, we'll cut into it and we'll see how it tastes. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's take a look. Ooh, look at that. Just a little bit melty, just perfect. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be good. Okay, well, I think you are have to cut them on a diagonal, right? Get this out of the way so you can see. Sometimes I like to score it just a little bit like that, so it's gonna cut a little bit nicer. Bang. Ooh, you guys. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's finally time. I've let it cool a little bit, and I'm gonna pig out now. This looks so good. Mwah. Wow. But that is not the best thing. that I have tasted in days. I don't know what is. That is so good, you guys. Mm, the creaminess of the cheese, the richness of the Russian dressing, the tempeh and the flavor from the caraway seeds and the acidity from the lemon and the cheese, and then just with the rye bread, and that is so, so good. This is one of my favorite, favorite sandwiches. I really hope you give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll make sure all of the ingredient list are down there as well. Follow along with the video. I'd love to know what you think, and make sure you check out the video coming up next too, because it's another one of my favorites that I think you're going to enjoy. Anyways, I'm going to finish this. I hope you make it. Enjoy. We'll talk to you soon.